lane gets picked up, jungle gets picked up in the first rotation, and then solo lanes are played around. A bit of push and pull. EDG just need to lock one in. Stop it. Viega's not available. But they say, hey, let's take Renekton, which has been banned a couple of times in this series so far.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're willing to pick this one up. They are going to ban out some of the counters. You do expect it to be top lane when it comes to EDG. Flandre's played it 5 times this split. It's also kind of nice if you think about it, even if you're a person in chat who's thinking, wait, blind Renekton, I'm not about this, like, terrible champion. It hasn't done that well in LPL playoffs. But when you think about who's on the opposite side of the rift, it is FPX. FPX would be willing to pick this one up on blue, flex it around different lanes. As long as they do ban out some of these counter picks, we see the Gnar going down, maybe also take away the Jayce because you are up against Nuguri. It is going to give Flandre a lot of room to do work, but actually taking away a different counter pick.
Yeah, getting rid of something that Nuguri could flex or put into the potential of that top lane. Also like that you're picking Renekton against, you know, Kaisa, Rell, champions that rely on these shields that Renekton can just push away immediately with the Ruthless Predator. FPX getting rid of some supports though, making sure that there's nothing to follow up with the Tristana. Rakan, something that we saw before coming out of, I believe it was Crisp there, Lyric, in the second or third game. And the Kiana on top of that, just in case.
You still have 2 options who can play into Rell in my mind. The Nautilus is open. It's something we saw a lot early on in the split. Meiko's only played it once, but I remember Meiko played like 20-some games of it in Summer Split last year. The Gragas, which has been a champion they've been going back to as well, is something that can be played into the Rell. But you already have magic damage in the jungle, so maybe just taking something that is more utility-oriented. I always love when you have a point-and-click CC up against a mobile champion like a Kaisa with that ultimate as well.
Yeah, there's a lot he can do, and even if the Rise gets locked in, you can pull him out of that, remember. This has been a Doinb champ. Both these mid laners have played this, but we know historically Doinb's Rise is, quote-unquote, hacking. We'll see if it gets locked in. At the very least, one solo laner to go with the Jayce yet again, but this time on the side of Nuguri.
Yeah, and right, we highlighted the Jayce when they were banning out the Gnar. This was the expected pick, but Flandre having confidence he can navigate this matchup. There is some ability to play through this, especially if you have jungle up there as well, especially the level 6 mark when you get access to that dominance. FPX is going to keep it mostly standard, going to send Doinb back to that Viktor. It is the champion he almost always defaults back to when he is blind picking a champion. And Scout going to answer just by going with another scaling mage as well and going to pull out the Azir.
Yeah, not what we expected. You know, we talked about the possibilities here. We get the mages in the mid lane where the interactive gameplay is going to be to a minimum. But again, top side of the map, we have the Lillia there as well. We know that Lillia and Renekton have a lot of CC, especially at the 6 point. And Lyric, I guess, scaling here for EDG, right? Where FPX build tempo off top, is that correct?
I mean, you look at the drafts, right? You have these both top laners that, you know, lane.
One more win to break their curse of 1,083 days. So let's get to it. Welcome to Summoner's Rift once again. And if you missed out on draft, here you go. Bit of a heads up for you. Things are a little bit more plain than we've seen so far in the series. But we do see Flandre and Nuguri, the Renekton and Jayce. As I say that, welcome to the land of pause.
We are back.
Game! And we see it a second time. That means game. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting patiently. Now it's your birthday. It feels pretty good here as we're into Summoner's Rift for game number 4. Remember the stakes. EDG are on match point. 1 step away from breaking the curse of grand finals. While that's a bit of a pick. EDG going to start this off. Crisp has to walk away. The Ferromancer crash down with the explosive charge means he's at half health and he can't back away. It's already a little bit sad. He has to stay in the lane.
And they also get a ward down right onto Tian's red buff to where no answer coming out for FPX in the enemy jungle. So they're going to know exactly where Tian's going. And he's pathing towards the top side, a bit more of what you'd expect. While we look at the bot lane, Viper and Meiko should be able to get control of the wave. Should be able to force a fast level 2 as well. Crisp and Lwx going to be feeling a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's straight onto the backline minions here for Viper and Meiko, so that'll be quick. Well, it'll be excellent. Crispy mentioned with the start onto the red buff. It was spotted out as well, so EDG with the deep ward was quite nice after getting some damage down onto Crisp. He, of course, is healed up, but I believe he's used one of his pots to do so, Crisp at a small disadvantage. While towards mid lane, bit of trading back and forth here with the Comet Azir. But Lyric, this is the lane we wanted to talk about. This is the lane it comes down to with Nuguri versus Flandre.
But the thing is, right, Jiejie is pathing towards the bot side, so EDG going to go back to the standard game plan of saying, hey, Flandre, you're on your own, buddy. Do your best. You got this. And again, Flandre's done a phenomenal job at doing this, not only all series, but all split long, finding a way to have massive impact and do massive damage like in the last game. And your bot lane already got a little bit of an advantage in that chunk early on, the pot advantage that you mentioned. They got level 2 first. They forced in the wave. So both junglers going to full clear and get their Scuttle Crab where they have push.
Well, that bit of damage onto the turret as well is another benefit. You talk about the junglers opposite sides of the map now. I do like, Lyric, that you started here by mentioning Jiejie's going to the bottom side. What we know about EDG is that even if a topside matchup is volatile, they will not look towards Flandre in most cases. So Jiejie here just farming away while up in that top side. Look at what Nuguri's doing to Flandre. Already pushed in, is going to ignore this engage in the bottom side in the meanwhile. Bit of trading back and forth, but that's 19 to 6 CS with a wave crashing it.
He's done a good job of, again, abusing the range first melee matchup and trying to deny him getting off as much damage as possible. Ooh, Scout, I'm surprised, already covering for his top laner. Will have push early on in this matchup as Azir. Typically, you see a lot of Azir lanes play out is utilizing your mana pool early, trying to get off an early reset into maybe a lost chapter around the 6-minute mark. But the thing is, I don't expect us to see... Oh
no, Chris face checked. He's like, are they there or not? And they just got cheesed in the brush.
You know, Asterix, I was just going to say, I don't expect us to see anything happen in bot side because they probably aren't going to be able to pull off a 3-man dive. You're not going to see a 4-man dive come out unless Scout tries to utilize a TP, but FPX would be able to match. And then, like you said, the face check comes through. Crisp goes down. Viper 1 kill at 4 minutes, already has a pickaxe.
Yeah.
This is not boding well for the birthday present.
No, it is not, sir. And it feels like a pretty harsh way to end the night if this is how it goes. But First Blood going over to Viper. You mentioned the item differential already. Now for FPX, they have to hope they can do something with the top side. Nuguri is still up 20 CS at 4 minutes in the game. So that's still good. And even though they got First Blood on EDG, look at the goal. It's actually not that much different as you'd expect.
I mean, right, it goes all up to that top side differential. Chris might be caught out again. He does have flash, though.
Yeah, the Ferromancy Crashdown needs to be used. The flash burnt, but is he just dead? Over the wall.
God.
Viper follows, double rocket jump, and Viper's tearing the walls down of EDG. Nuguri TP's in to try and hit Scout, but Jiejie is going to sandwich him. Meiko's looking for an escape path that might crash with Nuguri. He gets locked down. He's cornered as well, and they're just going to turn it back here into the choke. This is where FPX need to fight as Jiejie 1 hit away. He flashes. Scout as well burns his own flash, and even though FPX lost their top laner, they hit back pretty hard.
Ooh, though, that was, like, really nice to see. One small adaptation we saw come out from EDG, right, is I don't think FPX expected Viper to be there. You come off reset, typically supports do go down the mid lane, but AD carries don't follow. It seems like both Viper and Meiko wanted to be there, maybe to cover for Scout, expecting Chris to be there. They punish, but Doinb doing such a nice job with the utilization of his gravity field.
Yeah.
We're going to see here, Crisp caught out. Again, maybe not expecting Viper to be here. Doesn't need to go bot to answer that wave. Does get off the charge for the explosion, which allows him to get another rocket jump coming out. Scout gonna back off, but Nuguri does TP in. Jiejie is here to cover. It looks like they have the wraparound onto Nuguri. But again, the other members of FPX are here, and look at that gravity field coming out from Doinb. Nuguri does ultimately end up going down, but still at least they're able to pick something up on the back end. Yeah,
at least they were, but, you know, Lyric, I was trying to be positive there about FPX. I have to remember that Nuguri lost a lot of waves top. Flandre might still be down in CS, but he caught up some of the disadvantage that he had before, so... For EDG, 600, 700 gold lead. They now have a dragon. Viper is 2-0, and Jiejie has his first kill of the game with Lucidity Boots. So FPX trying to funnel in through this top side, but EDG still in a comfortable position in this early game.
And I really like how Scout's playing this, right? Constantly hovering up towards his top side. He's not going to let Flandre fall too far behind.
He's going in against the wall, sends Tian out. He's going to get poked down, smite down for the heal. But look, Flandre is going to tunnel down, waits for the Emperors to go down. But Nuguri's trying to hit Flandre to keep Tian alive. He's kiting away. Will the gap close be there? No. He walks it out while Flandre has to disappear. With the ulti, he gets helped out, but Nuguri using that advantage. The lilting lullaby is available. It'll come down onto 2. Tian comes back in while the flash away from Nuguri to keep him alive. Onto Flandre. He's out as well after his flash. Now onto Tian. Jiejie is spinning like crazy. Goes back in. The stun there. The help from Nuguri. But is it enough? Jiejie has enough mana. Tian walks away. And this is the real Monka W situations going on.
I can't believe that EDG were able to turn that around for another kill. Jiejie throws out the ultimate. Really clean flash coming out from Flandre, making sure he doesn't go down, with Jiejie being able to pick up that kill with his W. But that was all over the place. I honestly hope we get a replay because I was focused on Scout at the start of that fight. We see him going with the ultimate, pushes Tian back. But we saw that Nuguri either engaged on Flandre or Flandre engages on Nuguri. Flandre gets chunked out. Actually tries to walk around the aggressive way at first. So Flandre not only takes a Q, takes a couple shots of autos with the W as well and the E. So Flandre wasn't able to follow up and secure this kill in time. Tian, though, really nice sidestepping, avoids the swirl seed. Flandre chunked super low. Right now, Scout in a really bad position, doesn't really have anything left available, so they're able to pick up that kill. But from here, I thought EDG would just back off. Sure, Tian is low, but it's still technically a 3v2. They go in, Flandre lands a W, flashes out immediately, so they get 1-2 answer.
Look at Jiejie's scoreline. Yes, FPX gets something, but Jiejie's scoreline yet again. 2-0 here on the Lillia pick that he's done well on through the spring split. He's building up his item pretty fast as well, while for EDG, gold may not be in their favor anymore. It's in fact even, but let's just note what we're working with Viper still in a bit of a lead. On the side of FPX Lyric, 30 CS lead in the top lane. You're saying, okay, good, that's still happening while Flandre charges, gonna get pushed off again.
Luckily for Flandre, he does have plated steel caps now, so he is weathering that storm quite nicely. We've seen that Scout has been hovering numerous times, but FPX going to play out through their top side control. We haven't seen EDG able to do anything to answer. Bot wave is going to be neutral, and we see Viper and Meiko heading up.
Lwx a little bit behind there, Lyric. Flandre's level 7 without flash, but he has the dominance. Nuguri trying to push him off. He misses the shock blast combination, and that's quite large. EDG here first. You mentioned Viper walking into the river. Tian now trying to hit the Herald and get off a steal, but EDG have grouped on up. They need to hit the eye. Tian's there, steals it down, but is it worth it? He's going to get bursted down shortly. Flashes over the wall with the lilting lullaby. It won't tick him down. Now they've got a zone control wall over the wall. Nuguri gets sent by Scout. Is it worth his life? Because it almost costs it. While Viper jumps through as well, but Lwx says, yoink, I'm out. It'll cost 2 lives, but maybe they can get a trade. Onto Meiko, the jump down. The flash is there. And EDG escape after taking 2 lives.
That was played on a knife's edge by EDG. I can't believe Scout made it out of there still. FPX were the ones who were able to pick up the Herald. I thought maybe FPX would be in a better position coming in because Viper didn't have his flash at the start of that skirmish. Lwx did. The only people missing summoners on the side of FPX was Nuguri. Shouldn't matter too much, right? He's playing in the back line. He's throwing out accelerated shock blasts. We're going to go into the replay. EDG do force FPX off. FPX feel comfortable to walk in, but we see that Chris doesn't have an angle to go in. Really nice gravity field, but Viper actually zoning them off, uses the ultimate to push them away, and then Scout here finds the Shurima Shuffle, pushes Nuguri into the other members. Just by a sliver of health gets out. Viper ultra aggressive as well. W is in. And again, Viper was one preventing Lwx and Chris from being involved in that play. Use that ultimate to force both of them away.
Yeah, he's had some really nice plays so far, right? And even though Lwx will get the Herald in the end, remember, this isn't the bot lane that's always getting pushed in. Top lane that it feels like you want to put this Herald down. Because Lyric, Viper, at the end of that play, he got another kill. He's almost towards a mythic item. Jiejie picked up one as well. And these two are going to be putting out so much in the damage numbers department. And again, we just keep looking towards this top lane for FPX. Things have been bloody. Things have been back and forth. There may not be a really firm gold lead, but in Game 4, where EDG are a match point, they're bringing out all the stops with now some big carries on board.
The thing is, though, FPX aren't that far behind. Nuguri's still massive once we get into the stage where we are starting to group up, right? We saw last game, those accelerated shock blasts hurt.
Well, see, almost there. Is Doinb actually going to get shuffled back into his team who are coming on in? Doinb has to go on a bit of a journey, but where do you go if you're the Viktor? Scout will push him over. Jiejie flashes just to stop wasting time. Doinb in a choke, doing a good job, but gravity field won't matter. Jiejie walks past it. Scout gets the kill. Meanwhile, FPX with a Herald drop in the bot lane.
FPX trying to respond as best they can. Nice play coming out from Scout. Doinb tried to waste as much time, but TP coming out from Renekton.
And that's a double TP. Scout's there as well. He's already used the ultimate, but look at the damage. Lwx has to use the killer instinct. Magnet Storm there from Chris, who flashes anyway. The crash down, but the knock up thanks to the depth charge. And he goes boom. 4-0-2 on Viper, and EDG are pushing the tempo.
I think it's the right call by Flandre, right? You're not going to be able to do anything on the top side. You're just going to slowly bleed out and lose this turret regardless. They've sent many members down towards bot lane. They secure some kills. They're going to secure the dragon as well. I'm not quite sure how low the turret is. 3 plates still left, so EDG shouldn't be able to secure this one, but still making the most of their situation top and influencing the rest of the map.
That's a really good statement. Making the most of their situation. That's what Nuguri's been doing, and FPX still have a lane to play through. And while each of these fights I'm kind of saying, EDG doing this, EDG doing that, oh man, EDG are still very fed, we have to remember that Nuguri's in a very good position, even being 1-2-1, has that huge CS lead, has the Eclipse now as well, and Doinb's been adding a lot with the gravity field, so they're just taking a step back for a second. I know we've had a bit of action. It looks like EDG have the scaling, right? We have the Azir, we have the Tristana, Lillia's great setup, but there are angles for FPX to play, and the side lane potential of Nuguri is still there.
Well, I don't even like necessarily agree that EDG have the scaling, right? You have Viktor Kaisa on the opposite side. Okay. You have Jayce, and Jayce doesn't really fall off the way people think, right? Sure, Jayce doesn't do a lot of damage late game against tanks, but you don't have a very tanky composition on the side of EDG. Very squishy jungle, 2 carries, not a true tank in top or bot either. So he's going to be dealing a ton of damage the whole time. To me, it's really going to come down to if EDG are able to find these engages later on. It's very weird, right? Because both teams have like AoE that they can do well in chokes. I would say I slightly favor FPX if we come into chokes because of that gravity field, because they're going to take accelerated shock blast to the face. Maybe in a more open environment, EDG will do well. And I feel like a lot is going to come down to if Jiejie can find clutch swirl seeds or sleeps onto numerous members for Viper and Scout to pop off.
He has in the past. I think Jiejie's been one of the best in the league, so leave it to him. I like that you bring up it's not just pure scaling. I'll put that out of my brain for the time being, Lyric. I think when people see Azir and Tristana, me included, we think, oh, scaling advantage right there. But how the comps interact with each other, you've just been taught by Father Lyric. So take that to the bank, put it in. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen, here in Game 4, not cut and dry. Gold actually in FPX's favor now that we've come out of our conversation. And it's because these turrets have gone down in the side lane, Lyric. FPX have the gold lead for the first time in this game. And remember, the early game gold lead has translated to so much within this series, as well as the blue side having a 100% win rate. So for FPX, 1,000 gold on board. They are getting towards those first mythics, and things are closer than they seem to be.
One thing I want to keep my eye on is if either of these teams go for a cheeky Baron. I think especially on the side of EDG, right, when you have Leandri's coming out on Lillia, you have Azir, you have Tristana. Like, there's always going to be potential where if FPX overstep on, you know, the bottom side of the map, EDG just turn to that objective and burn it.
Sounds like just look at the DPSs.
You know,
pause.
I also just realized we are still 4.5 minutes from Baron. I'm getting a bit too far ahead of myself.
But I know you're looking ahead, Lyric, as Swellseed narrowly missed, rather. Flandre, look at his position, though. FPX going to the river. That's a great Magnet Storm, but Flandre, he's going to zone out Lwx, but they get Jiejie. Is that a good response? Chris goes down in the meantime, while Scout picks up the kill, and Nuguri TP's into 3 people. Almost gets caught by Meiko. Doinb sent backwards. Viper jumps on top, but now it's up to Nuguri. Flashes over to the skies. He shouts with Tian into the backline. Onto Viper. The damage enough. Nuguri's there. The follow-up is huge. FPX have cleaned house.
And FPX are going to be able to turn this into an objective. They should get the Rift Herald. They're going to put pressure down on mid-turret. And that fight even started off our screen, right? When we got to the fight, okay, we see Jiejie getting caught out. But Doinb was already low from what looked like a 1v1 with Viper. And then both teams kind of pushing forward, right? Scout goes in for the stream of shuffle onto Doinb, gives up his own life in exchange. Nuguri then still full HP, feels comfortable flashing over the wall. And now FPX extending this gold lead out of nowhere now, sitting at almost 5K. But we're going to get into the replay. I really want to keep my eye on what happened to Doinb. Yeah, Viper actually off our screens just jumps on Doinb. As we see here, Jiejie gets caught out. We do see that the dredge line did miss from Meiko. Chris taking a lot of punishment on the way out as well. So just ends up being a 1-for-1 to start. But this is where Scout goes in, thinks he can take down Doinb. They are going to be able to do so with Viper jumping in. But with Viper doing that, he also has to flash over the wall. FPX now having more damage in this situation, right? Because Nuguri is a big member for the side of FPX, to where we see for Flandre, he's really just been taking scraps. So I really like that FPX were able to keep their strong members alive, punish the overforce coming out from EDG, and now they're sitting pretty, right? Is the blue side win rate going to continue?
And they're making another play here. I didn't even get time to pull in my Asthma Inhaler. The flash over the wall from Meiko and Lwx. As I inhale here, we got to remember, Dragon's up. EDG had 2, but FPX are going to start pulling this objective, and things are looking pretty good for the side of FunPlus Phoenix. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say, you know, it's looking like things could go further, but at the very least, playing to the strengths you said, which is a very good point, and they pick up the Dragon. They respond on the side of EDG with the top lane turret in Flandre. That'll be some good goal, but look, Herald mid, FPX pushing tempo.
The thing is, right, the silver lining for EDG is at least they don't necessarily need to feel any threat of a timer for, like, Soul Point or an Elder fight. They have time in that regard. FPX are going to have to find advantages elsewhere, doing what they're doing here, right? Utilizing Nuguri's pressure, setting up vision in one quadrant of the jungle, picking off stragglers in betweeners, pushing that home. But I feel like at some point, if EDG don't overextend, if they go into full turtle mode, FPX at some point might try to just bait a Baron like they did earlier in the series.
Kaisa damage, Viktor damage, everything in an AoE, Nuguri's damage as well. It's already been talked about. EDG have a fast Baron, but FPX do as well. Dragon's been taken, resets here from FPX, and I'm very curious about Nuguri's items. At the moment, we are getting a yogurt commercial. I'll move forward. 2.5 items. Manamune picked up, serrated Dirk there as well. This is big man with big gun, and I'm also going to point out that Lwx has the Collector, so these are very big AD carries.
They're going to do a ton of damage, especially to how we highlighted that EDG's comp isn't that tanky. Still, EDG feel comfortable forcing this fight. We look at where Doinb is on the map. He's on the top side. Looks like he's wrapping around, but EDG already getting out of here. No objective up on the map, so not much action really expected to happen. EDG controlling mid-wave, so they're going to try and get control of top side river. Baron will be spawning in 30 seconds, but again, I think for the side of EDG, they're gonna chill out a little bit. I think FPX as well. Both teams are kind of happy catching waves, trying to establish some sort of priority in the side lane.
And at least just controlling vision for the time being. You know, that ebb and flow we see around Baron vision, where people put a ward down, back away. Enemy team will come in and, you know, reset after reset. At the moment, Scuttlecrab controlled here by FPX. A cheeky little ward in the back. I think that control ward's something that may be mentioned in the past. Actually, control ward in the bottom side in the split pushing lane, you can see from EDG. And also one towards the Baron, guys. Up towards the blue buffs. So very cheeky wards by EDG that can be used for a flank angle for people like Scout, people like Flandre.
And EDG right now should just be waiting out their summoner spells to come up. Viper and Flandre's splashes are almost there. Definitely don't want to force anything in the meantime. So to me right now, all the onus and proactivity options are on the side of FPX. We already highlighted, just keep doing what you're doing, pushing out these sides, potentially looking for picks in the meantime. It looks like they might even try to force a Baron, maybe just try to force out Flandre's TP because Nuguri's already here.
Now, they forced the Baron in game number 1, and it ended in a disaster. FPX are committing on 5 people. Over the wall, they have to play this safe, but Crisp is pulling off 5k for now. Are they continuing? FPX are pulling it down to 2.5. Jiejie has flash over the wall, but no level advantage. It's secured. He plays a 50-50, and Jiejie's down. Flandre TP'd in the back of the pit. FPX are chasing. Meiko drops down the depth charge. Viper sends him away, but FPX have 2. Lwx, I can hear Mark Z in my head right now as Meiko gets stunned on down. He doesn't have to flash himself. He'll walk through the safety gates, and FPX take the Baron, take 2, and might take my heart.
Happy birthday, Hysterics, because FPX are delivering. I'm surprised they bring it down to a 50-50, right? They have the confidence to do that. Sure, they have the members there. Jiejie still gets into the pit, but Tian wins out. And these types of bold decisions are what characterize FPX as a team. Still at a 6K gold advantage. We are going to go into this scenario. Let's see what happens with Jiejie and his smite. Throws out the E. Just flashes in, and Jiejie just wins out.
And the level difference, I'm
sorry. Tian wins out.
Yeah, Tian wins out, of course. But then FPX pull the trigger straight away onto the core targets. And Lwx, Baron in hand, a 6,000 gold lead here for FunPlus Phoenix. Their backs were against the wall, and they've responded with this. Now, walk me through the Baron play and what you do with this Jayce, who's so big in a solo lane.
For now, I like what FPX are doing. They're choking out Vision in the bottom side jungle. They have Doinb answering waves inside. He always has DP. He doesn't really feel any threat against Scout solo, so as long as they know where Jiejie is, I think he is totally fine. They're probably going to take this next dragon, and I would kind of like to see FPX just play out through 2 lanes. I don't necessarily think you need to play out through all 3, because in this scenario, it's EDG, when you're the losing team on the losing end of this push, you kind of need to look to give up pressure somewhere, maybe lose out in top or bot and all in, mid, or if you're losing out on top, all in bot, right? Look for a window where you can create numbers advantage by losing out somewhere else to at least find something.
At least for now, it's not going to be that top side. Turret's going to go down firmly here to FunPlus Phoenix. As this goes down, look at the gold lead again, while Nuguri soloing out the dragon. That's just going to be for the ability haste on these ultimates like the Chaos Storm, the Killer Instinct, even the Magnet Storm here for Chris Rell. But no further. FPX have used the Baron. They've got 40 seconds left. They've used that to also reset and pick up some more items, or at least get closer. I want to point out that Nuguri on the end of this trade, he's got the Serpent's Fang now, Lwx. An item that we've seen more is they're TPing. They're not going to settle down. They're like, hey, let's use the Baron to the full as he goes golden. Everyone's in. The burst down Viper's dead.
Yeah, now FPX honestly should just be able to start sieging down mid. They still have Baron. They still have the damage. I love it. They buy some more core items coming out. They have a 25-second window to possibly make more happen.
That cheeky ward, I don't know who put it down, but it's clutch. Doinb in the side lane pushing in. The death timer on Viper, another 20 seconds, even less. Doinb's going to walk on in. Tian's there as well. Heading forward, a FunPlus Phoenix. They can feel the game 5, but they just need to control this play.
That accelerated shock blast coming out from Nuguri doing so much damage. I love it. They're going back to playing that 2-lane setup that we talked about earlier. They should be able to guarantee at least 1 inhibitor. I think they should be able to get both. Oh, Flandre
going in. He's into the backline, but look, the attractor repel from Chris. He gets in even better. Lwx Killer Instinct as well, and I think they've done it. FPX now going to get Flank Scout. He came out of nowhere, but the damage on Viper wasn't enough. He couldn't get into range. Scout's ulti was beautiful, but FPX do it anyway. And Lwx, get Mark Z on the phone. It's time to be woo-woo with FPX versus EDG.
Oh my god, Hysterics. 2 days in a row, and we go the full best of 5. You knew you had to expect it. Blue side continued the 100% win rate. FPX putting all their eggs in the Nuguri basket. EDG continuing the trend of leaving Flandre on the island. And at the end of the day, you just love to see it. It was those few skirmishes where FPX were able to come out ahead. They were able to capitalize on that small gold advantage they already had from the top side. And like you said, it was that cheeky little ward in the mid lane that just completely sold and delivered this game to FPX.
It did. It did. It was the mid lane play. It was FPX playing like FPX have throughout the regular season, right? They're a team that love tempo, that love... I guess, we talk about them being an accelerated team, but the confidence to make the play in the heat of the moment when your backs are literally against the wall in the series with one mistake and you're going down to verse RNG for your lifeline. FPX keep the series alive and we go to another game 5. You're right. 2 game 5s in 2 different days. And, I know people are getting ready for the LEC finals later. This is such a great warm-up, nay, a great comparison. Where the LPL constantly delivers. Look at the damage here. It may not be much in hindsight, but that was only a 25-minute game. It felt like we went for 50.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. The Nuguri damage, right, isn't surprising. We saw how much his damage hurt. He was bullying Flandre that whole game in lane as well. Doinb, I think, had a lot of really good gravity fields in that game. We saw there were a lot of skirmishes where even when he'd end up going down or it'd come out even for FPX, he would lock down numerous members, be able to hit that death ray, be able to land the ultimate as well. And it's nice to see FPX again striking back, and it continues to be a trend that when one of these teams gets ahead, they are able to close it out. FPX still did leave it up to a 50-50 smite. Let's not forget about that. They got ahead. They tried to force someone. I think Tian wasn't head in levels at the time, so his smite should be slightly better. And they also have more burst across the rest of their roles. So I think it should still be slightly in FPX's favor to get that Baron. But just the fact that you would still leave it up to any amount of chance when you have that lead is a bit insane. But hey,
insane.
FPX with the confidence.
I mean, that's FPX for you, right? They're crazy. And we go into a game 5 where, you know, again, blue side win rate 100% in the series so far. FPX just showed us exactly that, and not that blue side will decide it, but
EDG get to pick sides.
They do. I'm very curious about the draft going forward, Lyric. Game 5 is upon us, and all that's left to say is that both these teams have really showcased class within the series. This has been such a fantastic series to enjoy, to watch, and we're going to go to a break. One last breath of fresh air before we go to the epic Game 5.